The Lucky Dragon looked like someone had taken a cargo ship and glued weapons to it with hope and prayer. Captain Jinho Kim stood on the bridge and watched the stars through a window that had 3 cracks in it. He did not worry about the cracks. Do-hyun Lee had put some clear tape over them and said they would hold. "Captain, we are getting close to the border," said Mina Park from her seat at the communications desk. She was 26 years old and had learned to speak alien languages by watching old movies and guessing what words meant. Jinho nodded. He was 34 and had been picked to lead this mission because he was the only captain who did not mind flying a ship that made strange noises. The Lucky Dragon made many strange noises. Right now it was making a sound like someone was cooking something in the engine room. "Sora, how are we doing?" Jinho asked the pilot. Sora Choi was 28 and could fly anything that had engines. She was also very good at fixing things that broke while flying. "The ship is happy, Captain." "Well, mostly happy. The left engine is singing again, but it is a good song today." Do-hyun looked up from under a control panel. He was 31 and could fix anything with the right tools. When he did not have the right tools, he used tape, wire, and positive thinking. "The singing means the engine wants attention. I will talk to it later." Dr. Hee Jin-yoon sat at the science station reading a book about alien cultures. She was 29 and very smart, but she explained things in ways that made sense to normal people. "The book says we should expect a very formal meeting. The Galactic Empire likes rules and ceremonies." Taijino called from the kitchen area. He was 33 and made the best food on any human ship. He also told good jokes and kept everyone happy when things went wrong. "I made extra coffee for the meeting. First impressions are important and coffee makes everything better." Jinho smiled. His crew was small but good. They had traveled very far from Earth to meet the Galactic Empire. Humans had never met aliens before and everyone back home was excited and nervous. "Captain, I'm seeing something big on the screen," Sora said. She pointed at her display, which showed green dots moving toward them. Mina pressed buttons on her communication panel. "I am getting signals." "Very fancy signals. They want to talk." "Put them on the main screen," Jinho said. The main screen flickered and showed space. Then it showed the biggest ship Jinho had ever seen. The ship was white and silver, and looked like someone had built a city in space and then made it fly. It was perfect and clean and had lights that sparkled like diamonds. "Oh wow," Sora whispered. "That is a very big ship." More ships appeared around the first one. They were smaller but still much bigger than the Lucky Dragon. They moved in perfect formation like dancers who had practiced for years. "Incoming message," Mina said. She looked nervous. "They want to talk in the formal way." "Put them on," Jinho said. He straightened his uniform shirt, which had a small coffee stain on the front. The screen changed and showed an alien being. It had blue-gray skin, 4 arms, and wore a uniform covered in metals and shiny things. Its eyes were large and golden, and it looked very serious. "Greetings, unknown vessel," the alien said in perfect English. "I am Admiral Vexitar of the Imperial Border Fleet. You have entered the sovereign space of the Galactic Empire. State your intentions and present your credentials according to Protocol 7 of the Universal Contact Accords." Jinho blinked. He had not expected the alien to speak English so well. He also had no idea what Protocol 7 was. "Hello," Jinho said. "I am Captain Jinho Kim of the Earthship Lucky Dragon. We come in peace and want to talk. We bring greetings from humanity." Admiral Vextar's 4 eyes blinked in a pattern. "Earthship? We have no records of a species called humanity. Please transmit your technological and cultural classification codes for proper diplomatic assignment." Jinho looked at Mina. She looked back at him and shrugged. "We do not have codes," Jinho said. "We are new. This is our first time meeting other people from space." There was a long pause. Admiral Vextar seemed to be talking to someone off-screen. When he looked back, he seemed confused. "First time? You mean first diplomatic contact with the Empire?" "First time meeting anyone who is not human," Jinho said. "You are the first aliens we have ever met." Another pause. "This one was longer. Captain Kim, this is highly irregular. All spacefaring species must register with the Empire before entering our territory. How did you achieve interstellar travel without Imperial knowledge?" Do-hyun's voice came from under the control panel. "Tell him about the quantum drive we found." Jinho made a quiet sound to tell Do-hyun to be quiet, but it was too late. Admiral Vextar had heard. "Found? You found your interstellar drive technology?" "Well," Jinho said, feeling embarrassed. "We found some pieces in an asteroid. Then we figured out how to put them together. It took a while. Dr. Hyejin looked up from her book. Actually, it took us 3 years and 47 explosions before we got it right. 47 explosions? Admiral Vextar's voice went higher. Sora laughed. The explosions were not too big. Well, most of them were not too big. Number 32 was pretty big, but no one got hurt. Mina was trying not to laugh. She pressed the wrong button and suddenly everyone on the Lucky Dragon could hear the alien ship. "Sir?" came a voice from the alien ship. "Are they saying they built an FTL drive by trial and error?" "It appears so, Lieutenant." "Sir, that should be impossible. The mathematical probability of success would be—" "I know what it would be, Lieutenant." Jinho heard this and felt he should explain. "We had help. We found some writing on the asteroid pieces. We think it was instructions, you think?" Admiral Vextar asked. "The writing was very old," Dr. Hyejin said. "We are still not sure if it was technical instructions or poetry. Some parts could be either." Taejin's voice came from the kitchen. "I still think part of it was a recipe. The quantum mixture ratios looked just like my grandmother's kimchi recipe." There was complete silence from the alien ship. "Captain Kim," Admiral Vextar said slowly, "are you telling me that humanity achieved faster than light travel by following what might be an ancient recipe found on space debris?" "That is a good way to say it," Jinho agreed. More voices could be heard from the alien ship, but they were talking too fast to understand. Jinho thought he heard laughter, but he was not sure. "Captain," Admiral Vextar said, "this situation is unprecedented. I must report to High Command. Please maintain your current position while we determine proper protocol." "No problem," Jinho said. "We will wait here. Take your time." The communication ended and the screen went back to showing space. "Well," Sora said, "that went better than I expected." "Better?" Mina asked. "They seem very confused." "Confused is better than shooting," Doyun said from under his panel. "I was worried they might shoot first and ask questions later." Dr. Hyejin closed her book. "The book did not mention what happens when you meet aliens who have never heard of you before." "I think we are in new territory." Taejin brought coffee to the bridge. "New territory is good. It means we get to make new friends. And friends always like coffee." Jinho took his coffee and looked at the alien ships through the cracked window. They were beautiful and perfect and probably cost more money than Earth had ever seen. The Lucky Dragon was held together with creativity and stubbornness, but it had brought them this far. "Mina," he said, "can you still hear their communications?" "Yes, Captain." They left the channel open by mistake. She pressed a button and alien voices filled the bridge. "Sir, High Command wants a full report on the humans." "What should I tell them, Lieutenant?" "The truth, sir? The truth is that a species achieved interstellar flight by following what might be cooking instructions and building a drive that should have killed them all." "Sir? The engineers want to know how their ship is still flying." "I want to know that too." "Lieutenant, should we offer assistance?" "Their vessel appears to be held together with some kind of adhesive substance." "That is tape, Lieutenant. Human tape, apparently." "Tape, sir?" "Yes. They have repaired hull breaches with tape." A long pause. "Sir, that should not work." "I know it should not work, Lieutenant. Yet here they are." Jinho looked at his crew. Dohyun was still under the control panel with his tape and tools. Sora was humming while she checked their position. Mina was listening to the alien chatter with a big smile. Dr. Hyejin was taking notes about everything she saw. Taejin was making more coffee and probably planning what food to offer their new alien friends. They were a long way from home in a ship that should not fly, talking to aliens who could not believe they existed. But somehow everything was working out just fine. The alien communication channel crackled again. "Sir, High Command is sending a full diplomatic team. When will they arrive?" 6 hours, sir. They want to interview the humans personally." "Understood. Keep monitoring their ship. If it starts to fall apart, we should probably help them." "Yes, sir." "Sir, what is it, Lieutenant? Do you think they really followed a recipe to build that drive?" Admiral Vextar was quiet for a moment. "Lieutenant, in 30 years of service, I have seen many impossible things. But humans building an FTL drive from space debris and ancient recipes, this might be the most impossible thing yet. Should we be worried, sir?" "Lieutenant, any species crazy enough to build interstellar ships with tape and recipes is either very dangerous or very lucky." 6 hours later, the biggest ship Jinho had ever imagined came out of nowhere and appeared next to them. It was 10 times larger than Admiral Vextar's ship and looked like someone had built a palace in space. Gold lines ran along its white hull and it had more windows than Jinho could count. "That is the Imperial diplomatic vessel Eternal Majesty," Mina said, reading from her screen. "They want to invite us aboard for formal negotiations." Jinho looked down at his uniform. The coffee stain was still there, and now he had a small grease mark from helping Do-hyun fix something earlier. "Should I change clothes?" "You look fine, Captain," Sora said. "You look like a person who works for a living." Dr. Hee-jin was reading her book again. "It says here that Imperial diplomatic meetings are very formal. There are specific clothes to wear and specific things to say and specific ways to walk." "How specific?" Jinho asked. "Very specific. There are 17 different ways to bow, and you have to pick the right one based on who you are meeting and what day it is and how many moons their home planet has." Taejin looked worried. "Should I bring food?" "Food makes everyone happy. The book says outside food is not allowed in diplomatic meetings," Dr. Hee-jin said. "It might be considered an insult." "Not bringing food is an insult where I come from," Taejin said. Mina got a message on her screen. "They are sending a shuttle for you, Captain. They want you and 2 other people to come over for the meeting." Jinho thought about who to bring. He needed people who would not accidentally start a war. "Dr. Hee-jin, you know about their culture." "Mina, you can talk to them." "Will you come with me?" Both women nodded. "What about us?" Sora asked. "Keep the ship running. If something goes wrong, be ready to leave quickly." "Nothing will go wrong," Do-hyun said, his voice coming from inside a wall panel. What could go wrong at a diplomatic meeting? The alien shuttle was as perfect as everything else they had seen. It docked with the Lucky Dragon without making a sound, and when the doors opened, 2 tall aliens in fancy uniforms stepped out. "Captain Kim," one of them said in a voice that sounded like music, "I am Protocol Officer Nalthis. Please come with us. The Chancellor is waiting." Jinho, Mina, and Dr. Hee-jin followed the aliens through the shuttle. Everything inside was white and gold and very clean. The seats were more comfortable than anything Jinho had ever sat in. "Is this your first diplomatic contact?" Protocol Officer Nalthis asked. "Yes," Jinho said. "We are new at this. That is fine. We will help you with the proper procedures. The Chancellor understands that primitive species need guidance." Mina and Dr. Hee-jin looked at each other. Primitive was not a nice word, but they did not say anything. The shuttle took them to a docking bay inside the huge ship. The bay was bigger than most buildings on Earth and filled with light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Hundreds of aliens in different uniforms were working, and they all stopped to stare at the humans. "They are very interested in you," Protocol Officer Nalthis said. "Most species do not achieve space travel until they reach Class 5 civilization status. You appear to be Class 2, maybe Class 3. "What does that mean?" Dr. Hee-jin asked. "Class 2 civilizations have basic space travel and nuclear power. Class 5 civilizations have mastered quantum mechanics and dimensional physics. Humans achieving interstellar flight at Class 2 is unusual." They walked through corridors that were like art museums. Every wall had beautiful pictures and sculptures from different worlds. Aliens in fancy clothes walked by and they all stared at the humans with curiosity. "Here," Protocol Officer Nalthis said, stopping at a door. "You must change into proper diplomatic attire before meeting the Chancellor." The room was full of colorful robes and strange hats and jewelry that sparkled with lights. Everything looked very expensive and very uncomfortable. "We have prepared formal wear in your size," Gitawa, another alien, said. This one had green skin and 6 arms. "Please put these on." Jinho looked at the robe they gave him. It was purple and gold and had long sleeves that dragged on the ground. It also had a hat that looked like a small building. "This is very nice," he said politely. "But do you have something less fancy? I am worried about spilling something on it." The aliens looked confused. "Less fancy? But this is a diplomatic meeting. You must wear formal attire." "On Earth, we usually wear our best regular clothes to important meetings," Mina said. "We do not have clothes this fancy." "But how do you show respect without proper formal wear?" Protocol Officer Nalthis asked. "We show respect by listening carefully and being polite," Dr. Hee-jin said. The aliens talked to each other in their own language for a few minutes. Then Protocol Officer Nalthis said, "This is highly irregular, but we will allow it. However, you must participate in the sacred greeting of eternal respect." "What is that?" Jinho asked. "You will see. Please follow me." They went to the biggest room Jinho had ever seen. The ceiling was so high he could not see the top, and the walls were covered in gold and silver patterns. At the far end of the room was a stage where aliens in the fanciest clothes yet were standing. That is Chancellor Zorthex in the center, Protocol Officer Nalthis whispered. He rules this sector of the Empire. The others are his advisors and the Diplomatic Council. Chancellor Zorthex was tall and thin with purple skin and what looked like a long tail. He wore robes that seemed to be made of light, and his head was covered with a crown that had floating jewels around it. When I give the signal, Protocol Officer Nalthis said, you must walk forward exactly 17 steps, then perform the sacred greeting. Watch me carefully. They walked toward the stage, and Jinho counted his steps. When they reached 17, Protocol Officer Nalthis did something that looked like a very complicated dance. He moved his arms in patterns, touched his head 3 times, spun around twice, and then bowed so low his face almost touched the floor. Now you, he whispered. Jinho tried to copy the movements. He moved his arms, touched his head, and started to spin. But on his second spin, he got dizzy and stumbled sideways. Mina tried to help him keep his balance, but she also stumbled. Dr. Hijin reached out to help both of them, and all 3 humans ended up in a small pile on the floor. The entire room went silent. Then Chancellor Zorthex tried to step forward to see what had happened. But his fancy robes were very long, and he stepped on his own tail. He fell forward off the stage and landed right next to the humans. Mina looked at the Chancellor, who was tangled up in his own clothes and looking very surprised. She started to giggle. She tried to stop, but the giggle turned into a laugh. Oh no, I am so sorry, she said, getting up and trying to help the Chancellor. Are you hurt? Here, let me help you with your robe. Oh no, I think I made it worse. Dr. Hijin was also trying to help, but the Chancellor's crown was now sideways and the floating jewels were bumping into each other. Your hat is very pretty, but I think it is broken now. Jinho stood up and brushed off his clothes. His uniform was now wrinkled and had dust on it, but he felt he should try to save the situation. Your Majesty, he said to Chancellor Zorthex, I am very sorry we messed up your greeting. We are new at this. Are you okay? Chancellor Zorthex was still on the ground, looking up at the humans who were trying to help him. His advisors were making shocked noises and running around trying to figure out what to do. This has never happened before, one advisor said. Sacred greeting has been performed for 1,000 years without incident, said another. Should we call the guards? Asked a third. No, Chancellor Zorthex said, his voice very quiet. No guards. He looked at Jinho. You are trying to help me. Of course, Jinho said. You fell down. When someone falls down, you help them get up. That is what people do. Chancellor Zorthex let the humans help him stand. His robes were twisted and his crown was crooked, but he was not hurt. In 1,000 years of diplomatic meetings, he said slowly, no one has ever helped me up when I fell. Really? Mina asked. That is sad. Everyone needs help sometimes, but I am the Chancellor. I am supposed to be perfect and dignified. Nobody is perfect, Dr. Hijin said. Perfect is boring anyway. Look, your crown has lights that change colors when it is sideways. That is much more interesting than when it was straight. Chancellor Zorthex reached up and touched his crown. The floating jewels were indeed changing colors as they bumped into each other. It is kind of pretty, he admitted. Very pretty, Mina agreed. Like a light show. One of the advisors cleared his throat. Chancellor, we should proceed with the formal negotiations. Yes, Chancellor Zorthex said, but he did not sound very excited about it. Please take your seats at the diplomatic table. The diplomatic table was huge and made of some kind of crystal. The chairs were works of art that looked uncomfortable. Jinho sat down carefully and the chair made a musical sound. Now, Chancellor Zorthex said, sitting in his own fancy chair, we must discuss the terms of contact between the Empire and humanity. First, we need to establish your technological classification. We can travel between stars, Jinho said. We have nuclear power and computers and medicine. We can grow food and build cities and make art. Yes, but how advanced are your weapons? What is your military strength? How many planets do you control? Jinho looked confused. We have one planet, Earth, and we do not really have space weapons. The Lucky Dragon has some small guns for... Word about the strange humans spread through the Imperial fleet faster than light-speed communications. Within hours, every ship in the sector had heard about the species that helped their chancellor when he fell, and used weapons to shoot rocks instead of enemies. Captain Jinho sat in his quarters on the Lucky Dragon, reading reports that Dr. Heejin had translated from Imperial news feeds. Apparently, humanity had become the most talked-about topic in the Galactic Empire. "Listen to this," he said to his crew, who were gathered around Taijin's dinner table. "The Imperial Science Council says we should not exist. According to their calculations, our ship should have exploded before leaving our solar system." Do-Yun laughed while fixing a coffee maker with a fork and some wire. "They should see the engine room. Half our equipment is held together with hope and good intentions." "The military council is confused too," Dr. Heejin said, reading from her tablet. "They cannot figure out if we are a threat or not. They say a species that does not fight wars might be the most dangerous kind." "Why would that make us dangerous?" Sora asked. She was working on a puzzle made from spare ship parts. "Because they do not understand us," Mina said. "When you cannot understand something, it becomes scary." Taijin served soup that smelled amazing. "Fear makes people do stupid things. Maybe we should invite them for dinner. Food makes everyone less scared." A message came through on the communication system. Mina pressed a button and Admiral Vextar's face appeared on the screen. "Captain Kim, Chancellor Zorthex requests that you demonstrate your ship's capabilities for the Imperial Engineering Corps. They need to understand how your vessel functions." "No problem," Jinho said. "What do they want to see?" "Everything. Your propulsion system, your life support, your navigation, your structural integrity. Chief Engineer Kolvac says it is scientifically important to study your technology before it kills you." Do-Hyun looked up from the coffee maker. "Did he say before it kills us?" "I believe he meant if it kills you," Admiral Vextar said quickly. "The translation might be wrong." "The translation is correct," came another voice. A new alien appeared on the screen next to Admiral Vextar. This one had gray skin and wore clothes covered in tools. "I am Chief Engineer Kolvax. Your ship violates 17 fundamental laws of physics. I need to understand how you are still alive." "We are alive because our ship works," Jinho said. "It might not work the way your ships work, but it gets us where we need to go. Captain, your hull is repaired with adhesive tape. Your quantum drive is built from scavenged components. Your power system appears to be held together with metal wire and prayer. According to every mathematical model, your ship should disintegrate in normal space, let alone hyperspace. But it does not disintegrate," Sora pointed out. "So maybe your models are wrong." Chief Engineer Kolvax made a noise that sounded like a computer crashing. "Models are not wrong. Models are based on universal physical laws. Maybe the universe has more laws than you know about," Dr. Heejin suggested. "Maybe some laws are more like guidelines." "Physical laws are not guidelines. They are for us," Do-Hyun said cheerfully. "We treat physics more like suggestions. If something does not work the way the books say it should, we find a different way to make it work. That is not how physics works. It is how our physics works," Taijin called from the kitchen. "Would you like some soup? It might help you understand better." Chief Engineer Kolvax looked like he was having a breakdown. "You cannot have different physics. Physics is universal." "Maybe," Jinho said, "but engineering is creative. We make things work with what we have, not with what the books say we should have." Admiral Vextar put a hand on Chief Engineer Kolvax's shoulder. Perhaps it would be better to see their ship in operation rather than debate theory. "Yes," Chief Engineer Kolvax said, sounding like he was trying to stay calm. "Yes, a demonstration would be educational." "Great," Jinho said. "What do you want us to do?" "Show us how your ship moves and maneuvers. Demonstrate your faster-than-light capabilities. Let us see your engineering solutions in action." "Sure. Sora, take us out for a little flight. Show them what the Lucky Dragon can do." Sora grinned and moved to the pilot station. "This will be fun. Everyone hold on to something." The Lucky Dragon started moving, and immediately the Imperial ships began tracking them with sensors. Jinho could hear excited chatter over the communication channels as alien engineers tried to figure out what they were seeing. "Beginning standard maneuver sequence," Sora announced. She pressed some buttons and pulled some levers, and the ship started dancing through space. But it was not the kind of dancing that Imperial ships did. Imperial ships moved in smooth, perfect curves like they were following mathematical equations. The Lucky Dragon moved like it was having a conversation with space itself, jumping and spinning and sliding in directions that seemed impossible. "How are they doing that?" came a voice from the Imperial fleet. "Their inertial compensators should not be able to handle those G-forces," came another voice. Do they even have inertial compensators? Asked a third voice. Do-hyun heard this and spoke into the communication system. We have gravity plates in the floor and some cushions on the chairs. Also, we have very good reflexes. Gravity plates and cushions. And seatbelts, Sora added, doing a barrel roll that made 3 Imperial engineers scream. Seatbelts are very important. Chief Engineer Kovacs's voice came over the radio and he sounded like he was having trouble breathing. Captain Kim, please tell your pilot to stop doing impossible things. What impossible things? Jinho asked. Sora is just flying normally. Normal ships cannot move like that. You are pulling maneuvers that should tear your ship apart. The ship is fine, Do-hyun said, crawling out from under a panel where he had been adjusting something. The engines are happy. Listen, they are humming. Everyone listened. The engines were indeed humming, but it sounded like they were humming different songs. Why are your engines making music? Chief Engineer Kovacs asked weakly. Happy engines make music, Do-hyun explained. Sad engines make noise. Angry engines make no sound at all. Our engines are very happy right now. Engines do not have emotions. Our engines do, Sora said, spinning the ship in a way that made it look like it was dancing a waltz with an asteroid. You have to be nice to them and talk to them and make sure they know you appreciate their hard work. You talk to your engines? Of course. Do you not talk to yours? There was a long pause. No, we do not talk to our engines. That is sad, Taejin said. No wonder your ships are so quiet. Happy ships make noise. They sing and hum and sometimes they laugh. Ships do not laugh. As if to prove him wrong, the Lucky Dragon made a sound that was exactly like someone giggling. It happened when Sora did a particularly clever spiral around 2 asteroids at the same time. What was that? Chief Engineer Kovacs asked in a very small voice. The ship is laughing, Mina explained. It likes showing off for new people. Ships do not like things. Ships do not show off. Ships are machines. Our ship is a machine that likes things, Dr. Heejin said. Is that a problem? Chief Engineer Kovacs did not answer. Jinho thought he might have fainted. Should we show them the FTL drive now? Sora asked. Let me prepare the engineering crew first, Admiral Vextar said. I think they need a few minutes to process what they have already seen. Jinho heard arguing in the background of the Imperial ships. Engineers were shouting at each other about impossible physics and emotional machines and the proper way to treat spacecraft. Captain, came a new voice. This is Science Officer Draleen from the research vessel. Can you explain how your ship maintained structural integrity during those maneuvers? We built it strong, Do-hyun said, and we fixed all the weak parts with extra supports and better materials. What materials? Whatever we could find. Metal strips from old buildings, carbon fiber from racing cars, ceramic plates from kitchen equipment. Oh, and lots of adhesive compounds. You built your spaceship with kitchen equipment and racing car parts? Some of it. The racing car parts are very good for things that need to go fast and turn quickly. Kitchen equipment is good for things that need to be strong and not break when heated up. This is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard, Science Officer Draleen said. Ridiculous things work surprisingly well, Taejin said. My grandmother always said that the best solutions are the ones that make smart people shake their heads and say, that should not work, but it does. Your grandmother was a spacecraft engineer? No, she was a cook. But cooking and engineering are very similar. You take things that should not go together, mix them in ways that seem wrong, and somehow create something better than what you started with. More arguing came from the Imperial ships. Jinho was starting to think that maybe their demonstration was causing more problems than it was solving. Admiral Vextar, he said, should we stop? We do not want to upset your people. No, Captain. Please continue. This is educational. My engineers need to learn that the universe is bigger and stranger than they thought. The universe is not strange, Dr. Heejin said. People are strange. The universe just does what it does. People are the ones who try to make rules about what the universe is allowed to do. And sometimes, Sora added, doing a loop that made the ship's gravity systems giggle again, the universe does not follow. 3 days after the engineering demonstration, Admiral Vextar called the Lucky Dragon with what sounded like a very serious request. Captain Kim, High Command has reviewed our reports about humanity. They need to assess whether your species represents a potential threat to Imperial security. Jinho was eating breakfast with his crew when the message came in. Taejin had made pancakes that somehow tasted better in space than they did on Earth. A threat? Jinho asked, pausing with a fork halfway to his mouth. We are 6 people in one small ship. How could we be a threat to an entire galaxy? High Command's concern is not about your current military capacity, Admiral Vextar explained. They are worried about your unpredictability. Species that do not follow established patterns can be destabilizing to galactic order. Dr. Hyajin looked up from her tablet, where she had been reading Imperial news reports. They are scared because they do not understand us. Understanding takes time, Mina said. Maybe they just need to get to know us better. That is why they want a demonstration of your military capabilities. Admiral Vextar continued. They need to see how humans fight so they can properly classify your threat level. Jinho looked around at his crew. Sora was building something out of pancake pieces. Tohyun was fixing a loose screw in the table while eating. Mina was teaching herself a new alien language from a children's book. Dr. Hyejin was taking notes about everything. Taijin was humming while he cooked more food. Admiral, Jinho said carefully, we do not really fight. We told you that we stopped having wars. Yes, but you must have military exercises, training scenarios, combat simulations. Every spacefaring species maintains some form of defensive capability. We have emergency procedures, Sora offered. We practice what to do if something goes wrong with the ship. Emergency procedures? Like what to do if we lose power, or if something gets damaged, or if we need to fix something dangerous while the ship is moving. Show us, Admiral Vextar said. Demonstrate your emergency procedures. Jinho shrugged. Okay, what kind of emergency do you want to see? Surprise us. Sora, can you set up an emergency scenario? Sure, Captain. Sora grinned and pressed some buttons on her control panel. How about a power failure during an asteroid field navigation? Suddenly, most of the lights on the ship went out. The main engine stopped humming. Emergency lighting came on, casting everything in red shadows. Oh no, Taijin said in a voice that did not sound worried at all. The power is out. What will we do? Do not panic, Jinho announced calmly. Emergency procedures are in effect. Dohyun, check the power systems. Sora, switch to manual navigation. Mina, monitor communications. Dr. Hyejin, check life support. Taijin, secure the kitchen. The crew moved quickly but without rushing. They had done this many times before and everyone knew what to do. Power systems are offline, Dohyun reported, already crawling under a panel with his tools. Looks like a blown fuse in the main distributor. I can fix it, but I need 5 minutes. Manual navigation is active, Sora said, flying the ship through an asteroid field using only small thrusters and her own eyes. We are still moving, but slowly. Communications are working on emergency power, Mina said. I can talk to the Imperial ships if needed. Life support is stable, Dr. Hyejin reported. We have air and heat for 6 hours on backup systems. Kitchen is secure, Taijin announced. Coffee is still hot. Emergency snacks are ready. Good, Jinho said. Sora, can you get us out of the asteroid field on thrusters? Sure, but it will take longer than usual. And it might be bumpy. Do what you can. Everyone else help Dohyun get the power back. What happened next was something the Imperial fleet had never seen before. Instead of panic or rigid military discipline, the humans worked together like a family fixing a problem in their house. Dohyun talked to the ship's systems like they were old friends. Come on, sweetie, I know you are tired, but we need you to work a little longer. There you go. Good girl. Sora flew through the asteroids like she was dancing, spinning the ship in ways that should have been impossible but somehow avoided every rock. Mina kept up a running commentary like she was narrating a sports game. And there goes the lucky dragon, sliding between 2 big rocks like a fish through water. Oh, that was close. But Pilot Sora makes it look easy. Dr. Hyejin took readings and called out information. Asteroid density is decreasing. We should be clear in 3 minutes if we maintain current speed. Taijin somehow managed to keep making food while the ship spun and twisted. Does anyone want coffee? I know it is an emergency, but there is no reason to be uncomfortable. And through it all, Jinho coordinated everything with a calm voice and occasional jokes. Dohyun, how are we doing on power? Almost there, Captain. The ship is being a little stubborn, but I think I know what she wants. What does she want? I think she wants me to sing to her. Then sing. Dohyun started singing a Korean folk song while he worked. The ship's systems immediately started responding better. Is he really singing to the machinery? Came a voice from the Imperial fleet. It seems to be working, came another voice. Power restored. Do-hyun announced as the lights came back on and the engine started humming again. "Excellent work, everyone," Jinho said. "Resume normal operations." The whole emergency had taken 7 minutes. The crew went back to eating breakfast like nothing had happened. "That was your military exercise?" Admiral Vextar asked. "That was an emergency drill," Jinho corrected. "We do not have military exercises because we do not have a military. But you responded to the crisis with perfect coordination and efficiency." "Of course," Mina said. "When something goes wrong, you fix it. What else would you do?" "Most species would follow strict command protocols and emergency regulations," came a new voice. "This is Admiral Thexara from the Tactical Analysis Division. Your crew showed no command structure, no formal procedures, no standardized responses. We each did what we are good at," Sora explained. "Do-hyun fixes things, so he fixed the power. I fly the ship, so I flew us out of danger. Taejin makes food, so he made sure everyone stayed comfortable. Mina communicates, so she kept everyone informed. Dr. Hyejin analyzes, so she monitored our situation. Captain Jinho coordinates, so he made sure we all worked together. That is not how military organizations function." "We are not a military organization," Dr. Hyejin said. "We are explorers. We go places and learn things and meet people. But what if you encountered a hostile force?" "We would talk to them," Jinho said. "We would try to understand why they are hostile and see if we can solve the problem. And if talking does not work, we would leave. Space is very big. There is always somewhere else to go. And if you cannot leave," Jinho thought about this, "then we would be very creative about finding a solution. Humans are good at being creative when things get difficult." "Show us," Admiral Thexara said. "Demonstrate your creativity under pressure." "What kind of pressure?" "Combat pressure. Defend yourselves against an attacking force." Jinho looked at his crew again. They all looked back at him with expressions that said they had no idea how to defend against an attacking force. "We do not really know how to fight in space," he admitted. "Then how would you survive an attack?" Sora brightened up. "Oh, we would do what we always do when something tries to hurt us. We would make it stop wanting to hurt us." "How?" "Well," Sora said, thinking out loud, "if someone is attacking us, they are probably angry about something. So we would figure out what they are angry about and fix it. And if they just want to destroy you for no reason?" "No one does things for no reason," Taejin said. "Everyone has reasons. Sometimes the reasons are sad or stupid or wrong, but they are still reasons. If you understand the reasons, you can usually find a better solution than fighting. And if understanding does not work, then we would confuse them," Do-hyun said cheerfully. "Humans are very good at being confusing." "Confuse them how?" "Like this," Sora said. And suddenly the lucky dragon started moving in the strangest pattern anyone had ever seen. It spun and danced and zigzagged through space like it was having a conversation with invisible friends. "What are you doing?" Admiral Thexara asked. "We are being unpredictable," Mina explained, her voice bouncing as the ship bounced. "It is very hard to hit something that you cannot predict, but you are not shooting back." "Shooting is for people who want to hurt others," Dr. Hyejin said. "We do not want to hurt anyone. We just want them to stop wanting to hurt us." "How does dancing make them stop wanting to hurt you?" "Dancing is fun," Taejin said, somehow still managing to serve coffee while the ship did a triple corkscrew. "When people see someone having fun, it makes them want to have fun too. It is hard to stay angry when you are having fun." The Imperial fleet watched as the Lucky Dragon continued its impossible dance through space. The ship moved like it was alive, like it was playing a game that only it knew the rules to. "Are they actually having fun while demonstrating combat maneuvers?" Admiral Thexara asked. "This is not a combat maneuver," Jinho said. "This is just Sora playing with the ship. The ship likes to dance, and Sora likes to make the ship happy." "Your ship likes to dance?" "All ships like to dance," Sora said, making the Lucky Dragon do a barrel roll that turned into a waltz. "Imperial ships probably like to dance too, but no one ever asks them." There was a long pause from the Imperial flew. What started as a military demonstration had turned into the strangest space ballet anyone had ever seen. Ships that had been built for war were spinning and twirling through space like they were at a dance party. The Lucky Dragon led the dance, with Sora calling out encouragement to the other ships. "That is it. You are getting the rhythm. Try spinning a little more to the left." The Imperial crews were discovering that their ships could move in ways they had never imagined. Weapon systems that had only been used for destruction were now creating patterns of light that looked like fireworks. Communication arrays were broadcasting music instead of tactical data. "This is highly irregular," Admiral Vextar said, but he did not sound upset. He sounded amazed. "Irregular is good," Taejin said. He had somehow managed to set up a cooking demonstration on the ship's external cameras while everything else was happening. "Regular things are boring. Irregular things are interesting." Dr. Heejin was recording everything on her tablet. "Admiral, are you getting readings on how the dancing is affecting your crew's stress levels?" "How did you know we were taking those readings?" "Because you are scientists. Scientists measure things. I would be measuring things too if I had better equipment." Admiral Vextar checked his screens. "Stress levels across the fleet are decreasing significantly." "Of course they are," Mina said. "Dancing makes people happy. Happy people are not stressed." "But we are supposed to be conducting a military assessment," Admiral Thexera said. Her ship was attempting something that looked like a very slow waltz. "You are conducting a military assessment," Jinho pointed out. "You are learning that humans do not fight the way other species fight. You do not fight at all." "We fight problems," Doyun said, his voice coming from inside a wall panel where he was adjusting something to make the ship's dance moves smoother. "We fight ignorance and hunger and loneliness and fear. We just do not fight people. What if people cause the problems? Then we help them solve their problems too," Dr. Heejin said. Hurt people hurt people. Happy people help people." As the impromptu space dance continued, something unexpected began happening. Crews from different Imperial ships started talking to each other over the communication channels. Officers who had served in the same fleet for years but had never spoken began sharing ideas about dance moves and music and how their ships responded to different patterns. "Engineering to bridge," came a voice from one of the battle cruisers. "The engines are singing. I have never heard them sing before." "Navigation to engineering," came another voice. "The ship feels more responsive when we move like this. Like it wants to dance." "Communications to everyone," came a third voice. "I am getting messages from other fleets asking what we are doing. Word is spreading." Admiral Vextar looked at his tactical displays, which were now showing dancing ships instead of military formations. "Captain Kim, what have you done?" "We have not done anything," Jinho said. "We just showed you how we solve problems. You did everything else yourselves. We have turned a military fleet into I do not even know what to call this. A happy fleet," Sora suggested. "A fleet that remembers how to have fun." "Fleets are not supposed to have fun. Fleets are supposed to maintain order and defend the Empire." "Maybe they can do both," Taejin said. He was now teaching alien officers how to make space pancakes over the video communication system. "Maybe happy fleets are better at defending things because they remember what they are defending." "What do you mean?" "If you spend all your time preparing for war, you forget what peace feels like," Dr. Heejin explained. "But if you remember what peace feels like, you have a better reason to protect it." More voices joined the conversation, as crews from different ships shared their experiences with the dancing experiment. "This is Captain Ziltar from the cruiser Bright Sword. My crew is reporting that they feel more connected to their ship than they have in years. This is Commander Felnix from the destroyer Swift Justice. Our engineering team says the ship's systems are running more efficiently during the dance patterns. This is Science Officer Quendal from the research vessel Deep Thought. We are detecting harmonic resonances in the ship's hull that we have never seen before. The ship seems to be singing." Admiral Thexara's voice cut through the chatter. "All ships, this is Admiral Thexara. Return to standard formation immediately." "Aw," came several disappointed voices. "Admiral," Jinho said gently, "why do they have to stop? Are they bothering anyone?" "They are not following regulations." "Are the regulations more important than the people?" Admiral Thexara was quiet for a long moment. "The regulations exist to maintain order and discipline." "Maybe," Mina suggested. "But your people seem pretty ordered and disciplined to me. They are working together better than before. They are talking to each other more. They are taking better care of their ships. Is that not what regulations are supposed to achieve?" "The regulations are supposed to achieve military readiness." "What if there are different kinds of readiness?" Dr. Heejin asked. "What if people who are happy and connected and creative are more ready to handle problems than people who just follow rules?" Before Admiral Thexera could answer, a new voice broke into the conversation. It was Chancellor Zorthex calling from the diplomatic vessel. "Admiral Thexera, I have been monitoring your military assessment. High Command is very interested in your results. Sir, the results are unconventional. I can see that. Half the Imperial fleet is dancing in space while a human teaches cooking classes. This is either a complete disaster or something completely unprecedented. Which do you think it is, sir? Admiral Thexara asked. I think, Chancellor Zorthek said slowly, that it is completely unprecedented, and I think that might be exactly what the Empire needs. Sir? Admiral, how long has it been since you heard your crew laugh? Admiral Thexara thought about it. I do not remember, sir. How long since they volunteered ideas instead of just following orders? A very long time, sir. How long since they seemed to enjoy their work? Sir, we are in the military. We are not supposed to enjoy our work. We are supposed to do our duty. And what if doing their duty could also bring them joy? Chancellor Zorthex asked. What if protecting the Empire could be something they wanted to do instead of something they had to do? The communication channels filled with excited chatter as crews across the fleet began discussing this idea. Officers who had never spoken before were now planning joint dance routines. Engineers from different ships were sharing tips for making their vessels more responsive. Even the medical staff were comparing notes on how the dancing had improved crew morale. This is Lieutenant Commander Yexnall from the medical bay, came one voice. Crew stress levels are at the lowest we have recorded in 5 years. Sick call requests are down 60%. Everyone seems healthier and happier. This is Chief Engineer Mordak from the Dreadnought Iron Will. Our ship's efficiency has increased 20% during the dance maneuvers. The engines are running smoother than they have in months. This is Communications Specialist Prental from the carrier Golden Eagle. We are receiving requests from 17 other fleets, asking for instructions on the dancing procedures. Apparently, the videos have spread throughout the Imperial network. Chancellor Zorthex was quiet for a long time. When he spoke again, his voice sounded different. Less formal, more human somehow. Captain Kim, your species has accomplished something in 3 days that our diplomatic corps has been trying to achieve for 3 centuries. What is that? Jinho asked. You have united the Imperial fleet, not through fear or duty or regulations, but through joy. You have reminded us that we are not just soldiers or officers or crew members. We are people who chose to explore the stars together. We did not do anything special, Mina said. We just acted like ourselves. And yourselves are very special indeed, Chancellor Zorthex replied. Admiral Thexara, I am ordering you to continue this experiment. Let the fleet dance. Let them explore new ways of working together. Let them remember what it feels like to be alive among the stars. Sir, this is highly irregular. The best things usually are, Admiral. Over the next few hours, something beautiful happened. The rigid military protocols that had kept the Imperial fleet organized but distant began to evolve into something more flexible and connected. Ships still maintained their formations, but now the formations looked like artwork instead of weapons arrays. Crews still followed orders, but now they also shared ideas and jokes and songs. Tajin's cooking classes became so popular that the fleet had to set up a special communication channel just for recipe exchanges. Different species discovered that they all had foods that reminded them of home, and they began sharing stories about their families and their world's doctor. Hijin started a science discussion group, where engineers and researchers from different ships could share discoveries and solve problems together. They realized that the combined knowledge of the entire fleet was much greater than the sum of its parts. Mina organized language exchanges, where crew members could learn to speak each other's languages. Soon the communication channels were filled with aliens trying to pronounce human words and humans attempting alien grammar, with lots of laughter when things went wrong. Sora and Dohyun started teaching ship maintenance techniques that emphasized